Aro, abomination, the chief priest shouted. Do not be deceived by her beauty. This child must not live, for she is evil. These were the words of Amoma, the chief priest of Iko kingdom. Those words of chief priest pierced Iyom's heart. She quickly snatched her baby from the chief priest's hands. She ran outside at once with her baby, as quick as her legs could carry her. The king of Iko kingdom called after his wife Iyom. He sent his guards after his wife to stop her from taking their daughter away. When Iyom noticed she was surrounded by the guards already, she stopped and started begging her husband, the king, to please let her keep their daughter. The king drew close to her, held her by the shoulder, wiping her tears, saying, I am so sorry. There is nothing I can do. You must do the right thing for the future. He took their child away from his wife, kissed her, and with tears in his eyes, he handed her over to two of his trusted guards and ordered them to take her to the evil forest and kill. Iyom meant to run after them, but she was held back. She rolled herself on the ground, crying and calling for her daughter to be brought back to her. The king of Iko kingdom and his beautiful wife Iyom had been married for 7 years without a child. Their pain and sorrow turned into joy when Iyom took in after 7 years. They couldn't wait to behold their child. After 9 months, Iyom put to bed. She gave birth to a very beautiful daughter. The king and his wife couldn't contain their joy. 12 days after their daughter came into the world, they took her to Amoma, the chief priest of their land, as their tradition demands. The chief priest, after communing with the gods of their land, shouted, Aro, abomination, this child is evil. She must not be allowed to live. Do not be deceived by her beauty. She must not live, for she would kill her own mother and then marry his father. Everybody present at the shrine shouted, Abomination. When the two guards set off to the evil forest to murder the baby girl, they would stop under a tree to rest for a while before continuing their journey to the evil forest. They would look at the little baby in their arms and their hearts would melt. They couldn't believe they were going to murder such beauty. They continued with their journey. When they drew close to the evil forest, they took a look at the baby who was smiling at them. They became weak. They both agreed they can't do that to the little baby. They took a different turn and headed to another kingdom far away from theirs. They dropped the baby at the back of the first house they saw. They hurried out so that the owner of the house doesn't get to see them. On their way home, they hunted down a grass cutter and rubbed their swords and part of their clothes with the blood. When they got into their kingdom, they showed their king the blood on their sword and clothes as evidence that the child is dead. The king cried. The wife was uncontrollable. She couldn't heal from the pain. She developed a mental illness. Some days she would be better, aware of what's happening around her, while some other days she would get worse. She was kept under close watch so that she doesn't wander about or even get lost. Some of the king's advisors and friends were asking him to marry another woman who would give him children, that he wasn't getting younger anymore. But the king refused to listen to their advice. He loves and adores his wife Iyom so much, even in her condition. He keeps believing that one day his wife would heal and they would have another child. One fateful day, when Queen Iyom's mates were having fun and distracted, Iyom left the palace, was going deeper and deeper into the bush, without knowing where she was going to. She passed her kingdom, entered into another one. She kept going. She would stop, take a nap under a shade, beg some villagers for food and drink. They do not know where this royal-looking woman came from. When night came and she found herself inside a bush, she found a comfortable place and slept off. As she was sleeping, she heard voices from a distance and woke up. The moment she stood up, she felt a sharp object pierce through her skin. She fell. A man and a young girl ran towards her. The young lady was shouting, "I told you, father, I got it. I am doing better now. I don't miss my target anymore." When the man and the young girl got there, they were shocked. They couldn't believe their eyes. Instead of seeing a bushmeat lying on the floor, they met a woman covered in blood, struggling to live. The young girl rushed to the woman crying, "I am so sorry. I didn't mean to kill a human being. I thought I saw a bushmeat." She held the woman's head up, looking into her eyes. She felt a strange connection she couldn't explain. She cried to her father, "Father, Father, please do something. She is dying." The man drew closer, tied a piece of cloth around the wound. He carefully examined the woman, saw that she is royal. He tried asking the woman who she was, but she could only utter, "Iko Kingdom." The man figured out she might have come from Iko Kingdom. He asked his daughter to stay with her, that he was going to look for a capable hand to assist them. After some minutes, the man returned with his brother, carrying some herbs, which he placed on the wound, laid the bleeding woman on the wooden carrier they brought. They all headed straight to Iko Kingdom. They journeyed all through the night with the woman, wailing in pain. They got to Iko Kingdom by daybreak. The first set of people that they met on the road recognized their queen. They sent message to the palace that their queen has been found, but in a very bad condition. The king, who had been looking for his wife for a long time, couldn't wait for them to arrive. He ran all the way to meet her. He cried when he saw his wife. He gave orders for the best physician to be brought to the palace to treat his wife. In the evening of the same day, Queen Iyon was stable. That was when the king noticed the strangers that brought in his wife. He questioned them on what happened to his wife and where they found her. They told the truth about what happened to the queen. The king was mad and asked why they would hunt so carelessly. He ordered they should be jailed until he decides on what he would do to them. After some days, the queen became better. She inquired about the young beautiful girl she saw in the forest. When she learned they were in palace prison, she asked her husband to set them free and bring them to her. When she saw the young girl, she fell in love with her. She asked her about her parents. The young lady introduced herself as Ugo. She told the queen the man with her is her father, while the other man her uncle, that she lost her mother when she was 7 years old. The queen begged Ugo's father to please allow her stay with her while she recovers. She assured him of her safety. Ugo's father, after much persuasion, agreed, promising her lovely daughter Ugo he would be coming to check up on her from time to time. He left with his brother, leaving his daughter behind in the palace. Ugo was always with the queen on her sick bed. She cared so much for her. The queen took her as her own daughter. Their bond was so strong. The king, who had been observing all that was happening, was happy that his lovely wife found happiness in Ugo. The queen's health wasn't getting better. One day, she called her husband and told him she had just one favor to ask him. The king promised to grant her anything. She asked the king to please marry Ugo if anything happens to her. The king, who was left with no choice, accepted, but assured her nothing was going to happen to her. 2 weeks later, Queen Iyon passed on. Ugo was heartbroken. After the queen's burial, she went back to her kingdom. The king was devastated when his wife died. He refused to get married again. But when he remembered his promise to his wife, he went looking for Ugo. After he met with Ugo's father, Ugo accepted to marry him because of his late wife she loved so much. It was a big marriage ceremony. Almost all his people were in attendance. Amoma, the chief priest, was in charge. After performing the necessary rites, He joined Ugo and the king as husband and wife. People were happy. They danced, drank, and ate. When the ceremony was over, as the king stood to live with his new wife, he fell to the ground. His guards rushed to him to help him up, but he couldn't stand. Everybody was confused and surprised. They sent for the village healer, who appeared within a short time. He did all he could, but nothing happened. The king was still on the ground, unable to use his legs. Amuma, the chief priest, was asked by the elders to consult the gods of their land for an explanation. The chief priest brought out his tools and started chanting some incantations. In between, he shouted, "That's impossible! Impossible! It can't be! How can? Arrow! Abomination!" Everybody got scared and worried, including the king and his new wife, Ugo. The chief priest turned, pointing at Ugo, and said, "That evil child lives. She is here among us." Nobody understood what he was saying. He turned to the king and the elders, saying, "Our land has been defiled. Our king married his own daughter, his flesh and blood. The young woman here is the king's daughter. His late wife, Iyom, gave birth to 21 years ago. She was supposed to have been taken to the evil forest and killed, but I do not understand how she is still living and found her way back to this kingdom." People were shocked. All eyes were on Ugo, who started shedding tears and ran to her adopted father, who held her tight, protectively. The two guards that were sent years back to murder her were brought forward, and they confessed what they did. The people shouted, "You two have committed abomination. You two brought this upon us. You deserve death." As the people rushed towards the two guards, the king ordered them to stop. He asked Ugo's adopted father to draw closer to him. Ugo's father marched forward, covering his daughter with his arms. The king asked him if Ugo was his biological daughter. Ugo's adopted father narrated how him and his late wife had a baby crying for hours at the back of their house. They decided to go check, and behold, they saw a newborn baby. That was how they picked up the baby and named her Ugo, and the baby became their daughter. And since then, they have treated Ugo like their own biological daughter. The king started crying. He asked Ugo to please come closer to him. The king held his daughter Ugo, crying. He remembered his late wife, the trauma she passed through when her daughter was taken away from her. He couldn't hold himself again. He broke down in tears. Raising his offer, the staff of authority, he said, "Every child must be allowed to live from today. We must cease to run faster than the gods. We must no longer go trying to know what would happen in the future. We are only going to live as good as we can in the moment and let tomorrow take care of itself." They all shouted, "So be it, for our king has spoken." All hail the king. I hope you enjoyed this story. I could remember the first time my grandfather told us this story. I felt this young girl's destiny was uttered, for if she was to have been left alone, her story would have been different. What do you think? Do you share the same idea? I would really like to know what you think in the comment section. Please, if you enjoyed this our story, subscribe to our channel. Leave a like as well. Thank you so much for your time. Bye.